CFL
Yep.
is attendance is down substantially this year, from what I've been reading, and in last year too. How are they going to, especially in the East? How are they going to fix that, Joe?
Well, I don't know if it's fixable. I mean, it's not fixable in Toronto. I think what you see is what you get. I mean, you might if they've got like 7,000, 8,000 really like sold tickets per game, that's probably really all they got. If that's
well, they're going to have to go back to the old style marketing for the Argonauts. Which, when I was a kid, I became an Argonaut fan because my mother would go shop at Dominion because it was mainly because of the meat.
Yeah.
and she would give me she'd get me the tickets.
Yeah.
The Argonauts.
Well, when
and
I was
the Toronto Marlies.
When I was a kid, I grew up in Edmonton. Okay, so I used to be a member of the Woodward's Knothole Gang, and the deal was it cost you $1 to join, and it cost you $1 for the ticket. So you join the Knothole Gang for $1, and then for each game you pay $1, then take the bus down to the old Clark Stadium, then Commonwealth Stadium, and you'd sit in the end zone, and then in the third quarter, in the second quarter, you're looking around to see where the empty seats are. In the third quarter, you walk up into a decent seat and watch the rest of the game from there. But it was, even though the Edmonton Eskimo teams at that time, believe it or not, were bad just before their glory years.
Well, Western Canada has always been a very strong supporter of the CFL.
What's that?
Western Canada has always been a very strong supporter of the CFL.
Yeah, right. Like in Saskatchewan, they've only got one pro team, and it's the Rough Riders. In Winnipeg, for years they had the Blue Bombers before the Jets were around. BC, same thing. Like they had the Lions before the Canucks, and Edmonton and Calgary. They've always had that rivalry, and Western Canada. But the CFL's picking Western Canada, still is, and the only reason it's not in Toronto is because this attitude in Toronto that we want to be major league or nothing. And it's got to be, and the NFL is perceived as major league, and the CFL is not.
I disagree, Joe. I think there's the Toronto Rock lacrosse team has gotten itself a really good cult following, a good base,
a niche market. But I mean,
the TFC
numbers aren't there.
The Toronto football team is done phenomenal.
Yeah, well,
with its fan base,
and I agree that these leagues, these teams, like I love going to Toronto Rock games. I love watching the Argos. But I for some reason there's this attitude that it's got to be NFL or nothing in Toronto.
I'm just telling you that affordable entertainment is a scarce in Toronto.
Wow. Look at
seeing a movie.
You go to the Marlies
people.
Marlies game, right? You could go to Marlies game. It's good entertainment. I've been.
Yeah, but I'm talking about football. I mean, I think that the Argonauts are a great institution in Toronto.
Yeah.
And I think TSN's missing the boat. They own them.
I don't know what they. I honestly don't know what to do other than because you can't. I mean, it's just like to watch a football game, and I do. Like I really enjoy CFL football. The league changes all the time. The game's never over. Anything can happen in the last 2 minutes. It's an exciting game. All the motion and
listen. McKeith Tully did a good job with the Argonauts, and his big job was to keep the stadium full.
Right.
And
what's that?
It's absolutely essential that the Argonauts do the same thing. Now, they're playing in a smaller field, right? The games become more intimate. It's easier to park. They should be able to they need to bring the youth back.
But how do you do that?
Don't you think?
Maybe you have something like, the Knothole Gang. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you have something like tickets are really cheap. You go to the schools, or you go to, say shop.
I would do promotions. Schools with the best athletes for the week, or the athlete of the week. The whole school gets fucking tickets.
Yeah.
But 100% of nothing's nothing. if you fucking like my biggest problem with Gene Melnick, that he tarped those fucking seats in the top is so stupid. Your main sponsor is Canadian Tire. Make those fucking tickets for those seats Canadian Tire money.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be good.
Well, if you go to Canadian Tire and you spend a minimum of $15 or $100 or whatever, right?
Right.
You get a pair of tickets.
Yeah.
And now his concessions, he's going to sell a beer or two, extra beer, 5 beers, some more popcorn, some more hot dogs, right? And you'll fill them up. I don't get it. I really don't understand. I hope the CFL survives in Toronto. It's older than the NFL, as you know.
Right. But you know what?
And,
I think it can exist in Toronto. I really do. I think both leagues could exist in Toronto. I think if you had, just like the Leafs and Marlies can both exist in Toronto. If you had the NFL, if you had Toronto had an NFL team, that's one group, that's one audience. A CFL, you're talking about like a $300 or $400 ticket, and then versus a CFL ticket, which is $20 to $30 or whatever, you get a completely different audience there. And like I said, you could, like we were talking about, you could have school groups going. You could have, like you said, the athlete of the week. Have Argo buses that pick students up at schools.
I think if the school has an athlete of the week, the whole school gets the tickets.
Yeah,
1,000 kids.
Right.
And
yeah.
It changes the dynamics. And you get the kids to start to learn about the game and becoming fans.
Right. And you see people in the seats, and it's attractive when you're watching it on television.
I think
there's a vibe.
I think the CFL is an exciting game, but the irony is, if I go to see a Buffalo Bills game, I feel like I'm in Toronto. I know everybody there.
Yeah.
40% of the season ticket holders for the Buffalo Bills are Canadian.
Yeah. Which is one of the reasons that Toronto doesn't have an NFL team.